So, Brian, I want to segue into these new Fannie Mae requirements that came out for community associations back in this past March.
Yep.
It changes the dynamic and the landscape.
Again.
Again, right? Which we'll get to in a moment is also going to be conflicting with what in February homeowners said we're good because we have compliance with the New Jersey law.
Right.
But here comes Fannie Mae that just requires a pivot.
Yeah.
Want to talk a little bit about, that?
Yeah. Overall, it's a good thing, right? So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac are requiring that associations fund at least 15% of their operating budget to reserves effective January of 2027. So if you have $1 million budget, in theory, $150,000 should be going into the reserves. I don't know how Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the underwriters look at this, lenders look at this, but I think it's as simple as those are the numbers, you check off a box, and you've met the requirements. As you know, there are opportunities for an association to say, we believe we don't need to fund 15%. We're seeking a waiver to that. And in doing so, they then have to bring a reserve study. And in the reserve study, you're going to have multiple options. You have to present the reserve study for the waiver, and your request has to be based upon the most conservative funding plan put forth in that reserve study. So you can't go to the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or the lenders, whoever's looking at this, and say, we're not going to do 15%. We're okay doing 10% because our reserve study provider said so. And look, here's their baseline plan. They're not going to accept the baseline plan. They're not going to accept a threshold plan. They're going to look at it and say the most conservative plan outlined in this reserve study is the full funding plan. That's the plan that you have to use when seeking a waiver. And that waiver, that starts in August of 2026.
And you and I both know that the best conservative plan that a reserve specialist will put together will more than likely be the highest plan.
Absolutely.
That's probably as close to full funding as you possibly
Correct.
could get.